Well, we're going to take the flywheel off the Murray here and just check the flywheel key. Don't think that has anything to do with the compression, but I could hear it pop every once in a while, as if sometimes you hear the timing off, but still very weak compression. I also had dumped the oil out of this, which was nothing but sludge, basically, and put some 30 weight in there. Sometimes the oil could cause it just not to have compression. So let's get this flywheel off and see if the flywheel key by chance has been sheared off the Murray. We're going to use an impact tool here with a 5/16 socket on here, my pancake air compressor here, to get this bolt off. Here we go. Just that easy to get that off with a pancake compressor and 5/16 socket. And so what we're looking for here is any kind of movement from the key, this area here, to the crankshaft. A little hard to tell from this until I actually get this flywheel off. So we're going to pop this flywheel off next. Alright, with a little luck here, I put the bolt back on here. We're going to pop this with a hammer, see if we can get this flywheel loose. There we go. Man, one time it popped. This flywheel's got some chunks missing out of it, probably because the screen came off, but so here we go. And the flywheel appears to be good. I'll put a new one in here anyway because I've got a lifetime supply. There's some more of that screen. Alright, so we're going to keep working on this Murray a bit here. Doesn't appear to be anything wrong with the flywheel key. So I bought 100 of these flywheel keys some time ago, almost a lifetime supply. So when you take a flywheel key out, I always replace these. So let's do that. And it's just a matter of getting everything lined up here. And drop the key in there. And there we go. So we'll put the bolt back on here as well. Alright, new flywheel keys in there, and we're just going to put the starter cover back on here and the bolt. I don't like using the air compressor to tighten these down. I like to just use the socket wrench instead. I'm just afraid I'm going to strip and these aluminum threads out. So we're going to just tighten this up, and then we're going to go into probably taking the valve cover off here and looking at the movement of the valves. So I'll get that tightened down first and go back to the head and valves. Well, the Murray is back apart. I got the valve cover off as well. And the one thing I have noticed here, which may be hard to see, is this valve seat for the intake doesn't appear to be flush against the actual block. It's got one side up here, the rest seems to be down. Probably hard to tell here with all the sunlight, but I may have overlooked that. Actually, I did overlook that first time I took this off. Going to see if I can press that back in. May have to take the valve out, but the valves look good as they open and close. But the intake appears to be sitting up a little bit higher. So let's see if we can get this seat back in. Well, that valve seat is back in now, flush, like it should be. I took a socket, similar size, and just closed that intake valve and just popped it lightly with a hammer, and that pushed that valve seat all the way in like it should be. So let's put this back together and see if we got compression. Everything else looks good on this. So look at this, we have compression galore now. This thing is as tight as it can be. There we go, we got resistance both ways, and you can hear it from the exhaust as well. Hear that? Oh yes, we got enough compression to run 2 engines here. For sure enough spark, because this thing shocked the daylights out of me earlier. This valve cover gasket, this bolt was loose at the bottom, that's why all this grease is here. Tighten that up. We're going to have a running engine here very shortly. I'm going to put this back together and we're going to give it a start. That valve seat is what fixed the problem.